So thanks, Seton. As always, as a preface, when I talk about my work, I start with, I've worked with really smart and passionate people throughout my career. So it always takes a village when you're working on great products. And I'm here to talk about the newspaper and how we can reinvent and move forward. And my story really starts at Amazon.com as a software developer following my girlfriend to Seattle, taking the first job I could find in the summer of 1998. And suddenly finding myself in this big deal that was happening around me that I had no idea I'd walked into. And over the course of 7 years, I was able to work on fantastic products and find myself with, coming in with no management experience, suddenly running a 100-person plus engineering group that was owning all these great critical things that probably all of you in this room have encountered, from one click to the shopping cart, to checkout, to your account, to Super Saver shipping, to launching Amazon Prime. And I then followed the same career strategy and followed my now wife to DC and decided, well, I'm ready for something different, and I'm going to actually try to get into politics. And so I started a company with several political operatives that focused on data mining for Democratic campaigns, and ended up having the luxury of working for the Clinton campaign, for the Obama campaign, and being in that back room. And it was in that back room where I started becoming a real news junkie. And I'm sure all of you have been in this position before where you know a lot about something that you're in the back room of, and then you see the media cover that issue, and some of it is so far off, like they just don't get at all what's going on. And of course, I saw a lot of that because a lot of people were covering the campaign. But the Washington Post was awesome. And I developed this incredible respect for the journalists at the Post. And so when Don Graham, the CEO, called and said, hey, after this election's over, I'd love you to take on another challenge. How about figuring out what the future of news might be like and how we can be part of that? I jumped at the chance. And in my role at the Post, I have one hat as an incubator of new businesses, one hat as an investor in startups, one hat as an evangelist and coach for our different media properties. But the one I wear most proudly is the team I started, WAPO Labs, which focuses on experimental news products. And I, in the spirit of great TED Talks, which usually are about nailing down 1 or 2 points and getting it in quickly and leaving you so that I can check back maybe in a couple of years and you'll have remembered this. I thought I'll just share here, in my 2.5 years, these are the 2 lessons I've taken away from my experience so far. The first, which shouldn't be a surprise given that I was at Amazon for 7 years, is that technology is the fuel of reinvention. At Amazon, we have this saying that Jeff Bezos coined, which was that engineers and technologists are the alchemists of today's economy. And for those of you that aren't up in medieval mythology, as a Dungeons and Dragons or Talisman board game fan, which I was, the alchemist takes your extra sword or axe and converts it into a gold piece, which ends up being really useful. And same thing here. You need someone that takes your ideas and takes that core product and turns it into reality. And that really implies some things that media companies and the Post in general was not doing, which is that, if the iPad is part of your future, you don't, in the long term, outsource building your iPad app. If you're hiring software engineers and you believe that's part of fueling your reinvention, you don't hire contractors to then convert them after 3 or 6 months to being part of your employees. You want people that really care about what you do. And so I thought I would actually share with you one of my biggest screw-ups from my time at Amazon, and where I actually learned this lesson the hard way. We just had a reorg, and my org went from 30 people to 100 people. I was swimming in new responsibilities. And there was this big cross-company initiative to build an Amazon.com in a box and offer it to other retailers, and essentially build something that was as scalable as what was built for Target.com, which for many years ran on Amazon's platform. And I needed a technical product manager to coordinate this whole thing. And one of the new development managers that reported to me, who was well regarded, said, hey, I have this great guy who started 4 months ago. You should take him and give him this thing, because we need someone to work across these products. Take him, he's done great so far. And so I basically, almost sight unseen, said, okay, he's my guy. And we went through a couple of meetings, and I said, well, let me spend some more time with him and explain, because he wasn't familiar with the shopping cart and some of the other more front-end oriented features. Let me explain to him some of the things that are important product issues for this product. And I'm going through some things about the Save for Later button on the shopping cart, which if you are obsessive about Amazon, you'll know that you move stuff, save for later, if you want to check out without the particular items, but you don't want to lose track of them. Plus, you want the price protection. So we're going through this, and he's really glassy-eyed, and I'm like, you know, the Save for Later button on the shopping cart. And he says, I've never shopped at Amazon. I don't shop online. And so I'm like, well, that's kind of a problem. How are you going to be, you know, customer-centric? We're the most customer-centric company in the world. How are you going to be customer-centric in building this product on behalf of these potential partners? And he told me a line that I'll never forget. He said, Vijay, I was in telecom for 10 years before this, working on switch software, and I didn't have a telephone pole in my office. And you can imagine where this conversation went. It devolved into, you know, you can't tell me where my personal money goes. And I was saying, like, we have to build a great product. How are we going to do that? And so I learned a very important lesson there, that technology is what you need to invent great products. And it means that the technologists have to really care about what you do. And so it's something I apply now in every hire I make, and specifically the alchemists. The second lesson was less obvious, which is that you probably don't know this, but if you look up in the thesaurus, cannibalization will point towards reinvention. I swear it's there. When you work at a newspaper company, you will have conversations like this. I have a great iPad idea. Oh, but if it's too good, maybe the print subscribers will cancel and take that iPad idea. I have a great new website idea. But have you thought about the ComScore numbers of the main website and how they might be cannibalized if you build this other website? I have a great new ad product that I think will really unlock advertisers. Yeah, but we're selling this ad product, and we have a lot of people buying it, and we don't want them to move to this other thing. I could have just closed the sale on that old product. Cannibalization is everywhere when you're working in reinventing something that's been around for a long time. And what I've learned is I have a trick, and maybe you'll be able to use this trick as well. When people say the word cannibalization, what I hear is, what a great product idea. I bet customers are going to love this. In fact, they're going to love this so much that that old product that we've been offering to customers might not be as good as this new product. Of course, what's really being said is, and I'm scared. And that's a big part of when you think about reinventing the newspaper, is that you are having to embrace your fears. And just to show that, you know, I don't think Amazon.com is 100% wonderful, I thought I'll share with you an anecdote when we launched Amazon Prime. So I led the team that in less than 2 months launched the Amazon Prime product, which probably some of you have encountered and are users. $79 a year, free 2-day shipping. There's a great Bloomberg Business Week piece from a year ago that actually covers the two-month sprint and how the product came about that I won't go into. But I wanted to tell you a story. We had just launched, and you know, the adrenaline was wearing off, the sleep deprivation was starting to overcome me, and I got an email from someone I'd never heard of before who was a product category manager at Amazon. And I've promptly forgotten the name, but the email went something like this. The shipping margins were how my product category worked. The thing you've launched have destroyed my product category. I don't know how I'm going to cope. And it was true. I mean, that's the best customers were going to take on Amazon Prime, and that's true. But you know, there was these bigger goals around reinvention there. And the next morning, same conversation with someone in finance. You can't take away something profitable and replace it with something that's less profitable. It doesn't make sense. And of course, the reality is that by spreading the base and expanding to new customers, we reinvented how people thought about purchasing online. And so that cannibalization is reinvention, and you have to think of it that way. And so what does the future of news hold? I operate my team on a simple premise, which is that the news products of the future will be designed social from the ground up, that they will be inherently personalized, and that no single publisher can satisfy the content needs of any news consumer. And so the products we work on attempt to essentially cannibalize on, you're personalizing it, but I could get a few extra page views if they clicked around not knowing what they wanted. You're making it social, but doesn't that give too much power to Facebook and Twitter if you, embrace those too much? You're aggregating other people's content. Well, what about our content? Don't you want people to see that? And so cannibalization is reinvention. And I thought I'll just share with you our greatest success from the last month, which is we launched the Washington Post Social Reader, which you can download at facebook.com/socialreader. And this is Mark Zuckerberg actually demoing it briefly during his keynote address. And it's personalized. It's embedded in Facebook. It aggregates the content of the Washington Post and 9 other content partners. It's embracing our fears and running towards our future. And that's really how we're going to reinvent the newspaper. Thanks.